I want you to picture something for me. You're sitting on your couch, maybe it's a rainy Sunday afternoon, and you just want something comforting to watch.
Mm-hmm.
You scroll through the options and you land on a classic. Pixar's The Incredibles.
Oh, yeah. The go-to.
It's perfect, right? It's got the retro-futuristic aesthetic, the jazzy score, the family dynamic that feels so relatable. You think you're settling in for a fun superhero romp about a family coming together.
It is the ultimate comfort movie for a lot of people. It's
Yeah.
absolutely got that nostalgic gloss.
But then you start reading, and specifically, you read the source material we have in front of us today. This breakdown titled The Übermensch in Suburbia.
Right.
And suddenly, that comfort watch starts to feel, well, a little sinister.
Sinister is definitely the right word. It changes the flavor of the popcorn, so to speak.
So I need to start this deep dive with a question that might genuinely ruin a beloved childhood memory for you.
Okay, I'm ready.
Is The Incredibles actually a cinematic manifesto arguing that eugenics is good?
It is a jarring question.
Yeah.
And honestly, if you just say it out loud like that, it sounds insane. It sounds like one of those 3.0 AM internet conspiracy theories.
Totally. Like the smirks are actually a communist allegory.
Exactly. That kind of thing.
Right. It feels like a massive reach. I've seen this movie probably 20 times. I love it. I quote it. Where is my super suit? All of that.
Of course.
But after reading this report, I feel like I've been watching it with blinders on.
And that is the trap. The movie is so entertaining, the craft is so high, that you don't notice the medicine hidden in the sugar. But this source, the Übermensch in Suburbia, provides a rigorous, almost ruthless socio-political deconstruction of the film.
It really does.
And once you see the patterns, points out, the specific philosophy of the villain, the way the government is portrayed, the way mediocrity is framed, it becomes very, very difficult to ignore.
I'll be honest, I tried to poke holes in this argument before we started. I really did. I wanted to defend the movie.
I get that.
But the more I looked at the evidence and the source, the more I realized we might be watching a defense of biological superiority.
That is the core of it. The premise of this deep dive is to strip away the family movie veneer. We aren't looking at the jokes or the animation style today.
Right.
We are looking at the hidden ideology. The source argues that The Incredibles functions as a defense of a natural aristocracy. It's a story about how some people are born better than others and how society is wrong for trying to limit them.
Natural aristocracy, that's a heavy term.
It is. It's the idea that there's a class of people who are superior by nature, by birth, by blood, and they have a natural right or even a duty to lead.
And conversely,
the masses have a duty to let them.
And that leads us to our mission for this deep dive. We are going to debate the villain versus hero dynamic. Because the more I read this source, the more I started feeling uncomfortable. The report paints the villain syndrome in a light I had never considered.
And that is where the tension lies. The film goes to great lengths to punish syndrome, and we need to understand why. But to understand the villain, we first have to understand the world the movie builds.
Right. So I'm going to tell you right now, I'm taking a stand. I'm playing devil's advocate today. I'm going to argue that Syndrome was actually the hero of the story, or at least the victim of a rigged system.
I like it. A bold stance.
But before we get there, let's talk about the world these characters live in. Let's unpack what the source calls the Mediocrity Trap.
This is where the source material gets fascinating. It compares the setting of The Incredibles, specifically the beginning where the supers are banned, to a very famous piece of literature.
Oh.
Did you ever read Kurt Vonnegut's short story, Harrison Bergeron?
Oh, man, yes. High school English class. It's a classic. But for anyone who hasn't read it or hasn't thought about it in 20 years, give us the refresher.
So Harrison Bergeron is set in a future dystopia where the Constitution has been amended to make everyone equal, but not equal in rights or opportunity.
No, it's much more literal than that.
Equal in ability.
Right. This is the scary part. It's not we all have the same shot. It's no one is allowed to be better than anyone else.
Exactly. So in the story, the government has a handicapper general. If you are strong, the government makes you wear heavy bags of birdshot around your neck to weigh you down.
Just physically holding you back.
If you are beautiful, you have to wear a hideous mask so you don't make others feel ugly.
And if you're smart, you wear that earpiece.
Yes, a radio in your ear that blasts a shrill noise every 20 seconds to scatter your thoughts so you can't take unfair advantage of your brain.
It's terrifying.
The goal of the society is to ensure that no one feels bad about themselves. They drag the top down to the middle so the bottom doesn't feel inferior.
Okay, so that's a nightmare world. a dystopia. But The Incredibles is a bright, colorful superhero movie. How do they connect?
The source argues that The Incredibles portrays the exact same world. It's just that the weights aren't bags of birdshot.
So what are they?
They are lawsuits. They are bureaucracy. They are the laws of the state. The source argues that in the world of the film, law is the weapon the weak use to shackle the strong.
That brings us to Mr. Sansweet. This is the guy Mr. Incredible saves in the opening sequence.
Right at the start.
It's a classic hero setup. He sees a guy falling, he catches him, saves his life. In a Marvel movie, the guy says, "Thank you, you saved me."
But here, Mr. Sansweet sues him.
He saves him.
And look at the specific wording of the lawsuit mentioned in the film. Sansweet says, "I didn't want to be saved. You ruined my death."
Which is incredibly dark for a kid's movie, by the way. Just, wow.
It is. But the source highlights this as a critical philosophical moment. It frames victimhood as a weapon.
A weapon? How so?
The film is telling us that the weak, the normal people, even the suicidal ones, will use their status as victims to crush the competent people. It's the film's way of saying that the mediocre majority will use the legal system to chain down the exceptional minority.
It creates this resentment in the viewer right away. You're sitting there thinking, wow, people are ungrateful. Why bother helping them?
Precisely. It aligns your sympathies with the Übermensch, the Superman, against the common man.
And that's what leads to the whole superhero ban.
The superhero relocation program. Basically, the government forces the supers to hide who they are. They have to blend in. And this leads to what is honestly one of the most depressing depictions of corporate life in cinema history. Bob Parr at Silicare.
Oh, it's visceral. The visuals alone tell the whole story. You don't even need the dialogue.
The visual semiotics here are undeniable. When we see the golden age of the supers in the prologue, everything is vibrant, primary colors, heroic angles.
Everything is big and bold.
Then we get to 15 years later at the insurance office. It's desaturated, it's gray, it's claustrophobic.
And Bob doesn't fit. Literally, he's a giant man squeezed into a tiny compact car and then squeezed into a tiny cubicle. There's that pillar right in his face.
The source calls this the cage of collectivism. The architecture itself is trying to shrink him. It's trying to make the giant small.
But the real cage isn't the walls, is it?
No, it's the boss, Mr. Huff.
Oh, I hate that guy, the little guy with the white hair. He's such a weasel.
Weasel is the emotional word. But philosophically, the source identifies him as a very specific archetype. He is a Randian villain.
Okay, let's unpack that. Randian as in Ayn Rand. Atlas shrugged.
Exactly. If you're familiar with Ayn Rand's philosophy, Objectivism, she talks about looters or second-handers.
Right, the bad guys in her books.
These are men of no talent, no creative ability, no strength. But they crave power.
Yeah.
So how do they get it?
They use rules.
They use rules, guilt, and bureaucracy. Huff is the ultimate looter. He knows Bob is better than him. He knows Bob could snap him like a twig.
And he's terrified of it.
But Huff has the company policy. He uses the structure of the organization to control a man of superior ability. Huff represents the petty tyranny of the mediocre.
There's that scene where Bob is trying to help the old lady, Mrs. Hodgkinson, find a loophole in the policy so she can get paid. And Huff calls him into the office and screams at him for it.
Right. And think about the metaphor of insurance itself. The source points out that insurance is, by definition, a socialist mechanism.
How so? I mean, it's a business.
It's the collective pooling of risk. I pay in, you pay in. If you get sick, my money pays for you. The strong subsidize the weak.
And to a libertarian philosopher, that's immoral.
Exactly. Bob helping his clients find loopholes is his attempt to reclaim agency. He's trying to be a hero, an individualist, in a system designed to homogenize everyone into a risk pool.
He's trying to fight the system from within.
He's trying to break the Harrison Bergeron weights.
And then the snap. Bob throws Huff through the wall. And not just one wall, he goes through like 4 walls.
Now, usually in a movie, violence like that would be framed as a bad thing. Like, oh no, he lost control, he needs to work on his anger.
Right. Usually the hero regrets hurting the civilian. There's a whole moral dilemma.
But the source argues that the movie frames this as a biological assertion.
A biological assertion? That sounds clinical.
It means it's not just anger. It is the inevitable rupture of a containment vessel that was meant to hold a giant.
So, it had to happen.
It presents it as an inevitability. And more than that, the movie manipulates the audience to cheer for it. We want the little bureaucrat to be crushed.
Yeah, you do. You're relieved when it happens.
We want the Superman to break the rules because we instinctively feel he is above them. The source argues this is the film grooming us to accept that laws shouldn't apply to the elite.
It's weird because when you watch it, you do cheer. You think, yeah, get him. But you're cheering for a guy nearly killing his boss because the boss wanted him to follow the rules.
And this theme of hating normal rules really peaks with the graduation rant.
This is probably the most overt philosophical statement in the film. It's almost a manifesto delivered by Bob Parr.
It really is.
Yeah. Helen Elastigirl wants to go to Dash's 4th grade graduation. Just a moving up ceremony. And Bob just loses it. I have the quote here.
Let's hear it.
He says, "It's psychotic. They keep creating new ways to celebrate mediocrity, but if someone is genuinely exceptional," and then he gets cut off.
Celebrate mediocrity. That's the key phrase.
It's so blunt.
It's a direct attack on what we call the self-esteem movement. The movie creates a dichotomy. On one side, you have the celebration of existence. Everyone gets a trophy just for showing up.
Participation trophies.
That's egalitarianism. On the other side, you have the celebration of achievement, which is meritocracy, or in this film's case, aristocracy.
There's that killer line from Dash later in the car. He says, "Dad always said our powers were nothing to be ashamed of. Everyone's special, Dash."
And Bob's reply.
And Bob looks in the rearview mirror, dead serious, and says, which is another way of saying no one is.
That is the thesis of the movie right there. If everyone is special, no one is.
It sounds profound, but let's actually unpack what that means.
It's an economic argument applied to human worth.
An economic argument.
Yeah. Specialness relies on scarcity. If you have a diamond, it's valuable because diamonds are rare.
Right.
If diamonds were as common as gravel, they would be worthless. Bob is arguing that if the school or the state inflates the supply of specialness by telling every kid they are special, the value of the true elite, the supers, crashes.
So the movie is fundamentally against the idea of universal value. It believes that for greatness to exist, mediocrity must also exist as a contrast.
You got it.
You need the losers so the winners look good.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And that brings us to the person who tries to break that rule, the person who tries to hack the system.
Syndrome.
Okay, this is where I get fired up.
Mm-hmm.
Because looking at this through the lens of the source material, I am officially declaring myself Team Syndrome.
Okay, lay out the case for the defense. I'm all ears.
Let's look at the original sin of the movie, the prologue. We meet Buddy Pine. He's a kid. He's a superfan. But more importantly, he's a genius.
Undeniably. He's brilliant.
He built rocket boots.
Yeah.
In his garage, he's what, 12?
Something like that, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
In literally any other movie universe, think Iron Man, think Batman. This kid is the hero. He is the self-made man who uses his brain to stand toe-to-toe with the gods.
It's a great comparison.
Tony Stark has no powers. He has a brain and money. Buddy Pine has a brain.
But how does Mr. Incredible treat him?
Like garbage. Fly home, buddy. I work alone. He dismisses him. He just brushes him off.
Now, why does he reject him? Is it because Buddy is incompetent?
No. The kid was flying. He was keeping up. He actually solved the problem before Mr. Incredible did in that scene. The bomb on the train tracks.
He did. So what's the real reason?
Right.
The source argues he rejects him because Buddy is uppity.
Uppity.
Think of it in terms of class struggle. The source makes a fascinating distinction here.
Go on.
The supers represent the aristocracy, old money, blue bloods. You have to be born into it. You can't earn it.
Right, it's genetic.
Syndrome represents the bourgeoisie, new money, labor, technology.
So Mr. Incredible rejecting him isn't about safety. It's gatekeeping. It's the aristocrat telling the commoner, you don't belong in the castle.
Precisely. The source uses the term ontological hero versus performative hero.
Break that down for us.
Ontology refers to the nature of being. Mr. Incredible is an ontological hero. He is a hero because of his biology. It is what he is.
He's born with it.
Buddy is a performative hero. He acts like a hero using tools. He's making himself a hero.
And the movie clearly has a preference.
Oh, absolutely. It believes that the performative hero is a fraud. Buddy disrupted the natural order. He was a normal trying to use technology to mimic the gods.
And the gods don't like it when mortals try to climb Mount Olympus.
That's a perfect way to put it.
And look at Syndrome's master plan. Fast forward 15 years, he gives that monologue that is supposed to be terrifying.
The big villain speech.
He says, I'll sell my inventions so that everyone can be superheroes.
And how do you interpret that as the devil's advocate here?
I interpret that as a noble goal. He wants to democratize power. He wants to level the playing field. Imagine a world where a petite woman can have a force field to protect herself walking home at night, or a firefighter can have super strength to lift a beam off a trapped person.
It's a compelling vision.
Syndrome wants to give the powerless the means to defend themselves. He's basically Prometheus giving fire to the people.
That is a very valid interpretation. But the film and the source material highlights this, frames this democratization as an apocalyptic threat.
But why? Why is everyone having powers a bad thing?
Go back to Bob's line.
If everyone is super, no one is.
Right. The film believes in a zero-sum status game. If Syndrome succeeds, the specialness of the Parr family is destroyed. Their social capital evaporates.
So it's about status.
It's all about status.
Yeah.
Syndrome is the villain, not because he kills people, though the movie makes him do that to justify our hatred.
Which is a narrative cheat, by the way.
It is. He is the villain because he wants to destroy the caste system. He wants to overthrow the biological aristocracy.
So the movie punishes him for trying to mess with the hierarchy.
It goes deeper than punishment. It's a war between tech and biology. Look at his weapon, the zero-point energy ray.
The finger ray thing, it freezes people.
Think about the symbolism. It immobilizes the supers, it takes away their movement, their strength, their physical agency.
It renders their natural gifts useless.
It is the revenge of the brainy kid against the jock. It is technology freezing biology. The source argues this represents the fear that technology will make natural strength obsolete.
And the source mentions Operation Kronos. This is the part where Syndrome builds the Omnidroid.
Right. He lures retired supers to the island to fight the robot. The robot kills them, learns, and gets better. The source calls this the genocide of the elite.
Which is brutal.
It is, but look at how he does it. He feeds the biological supers to the machine.
Oh, wow.
He is commodifying the aristocracy. He's using their bodies to perfect his technology. He's basically saying, your old world strength is only useful as data for my new world machine.
Which confirms the movie's stance. Technology is predatory. Biology is sacred. Syndrome is the bad guy because he thinks he can buy or build what the Parrs were given by God or genetics.
And that leads us directly into the third section of our deep dive, the ontological war between blood and machine.
This is where it gets really uncomfortable.
The source argues that the movie is arguably a defense of eugenics.
That is the word we started with, eugenics. It's a charged word.
It is, but the source posits that The Incredibles defends biological essentialism, the idea that you are what you are born as and you cannot change it.
You can't earn it. You can't build it.
Exactly. And the most damning evidence for this isn't Bob or Helen. It's the baby.
We have to talk about Jack Jack.
We do.
The whole subplot with the baby is that the family is terrified he might be normal.
Yes. They're incredibly anxious. The source calls this eugenic anxiety.
It's handled as a joke, like, oh, does he have powers yet? Is he eating the cookies or phasing through them?
Right. Lighthearted family stuff on the surface.
Yeah. But if you peel it back, they are terrified of a genetic failure. If Jack Jack has no powers, he is a break in the aristocratic line. He's a dud.
And remember the reveal. At the very end, when Syndrome kidnaps Jack Jack, Syndrome is flying away, and suddenly the baby turns into a fireball, then a metal monster, then a goblin.
A literal demon baby.
And Bob sees this from the ground. And what is his reaction?
He is ecstatic. He's cheering. That's my boy.
Think about how weird that is. His son has turned into a literal demon and is attacking a man. But Bob is relieved. Why?
Because the genes are good.
Because the source argues that the child's value is determined by his genetic output. The super gene is the primary determinant of worth in that family.
Just chilling.
If Jack Jack had been normal, it would have been a tragedy for them. But because he's a monster, he is celebrated. The genetic line is secure.
This focus on natural ability versus artificial ability also explains the most famous line in the movie.
I know where you're going with this.
Edna mode. No capes.
Ah, yes. Everyone loves Edna. She's iconic. But the Force argues no capes isn't just a fashion tip.
It's more than that.
It's a philosophical stance called biological functionalism.
That sounds like a grad school course. Break that down.
A cape is a symbol. It's theater. It says, look at me, I'm a hero. It's performative.
It's for show.
And Edna despises it. Edna designs suits that are purely functional. Elastigirl's suit stretches because she stretches. Violet's suit turns invisible because she turns invisible.
The suit serves the biology.
Edna designs for the biology. She respects the genetic reality of the client.
And Syndrome.
Syndrome wears a cape.
And he dies because of it.
Exactly. He gets sucked into the jet turbine because of his cape. The narrative punishes him for wearing the costume of a hero without having the biology of one.
The source had a really dark metaphor for that death scene. It called the jet turbine natural law reasserting itself.
Yes.
Yes.
The suction metaphor.
Yeah.
Think about a jet engine. It takes in air nature and compresses it.
Right.
The source argues that the pretender, the guy who used tech to fly, who didn't belong in the sky, is literally sucked out of the sky so the true birds of prey can fly.
It's the movie saying, you don't belong here. Get out.
It's a very violent rejection of the self-made man.
And then there's the robot itself, the Omnidroid. It turns on syndrome.
Right. He loses the remote. A classic trope.
It's the classic Frankenstein trope. The created thing rebels against the creator.
But notice why it rebels. The source argues the machine lacks a soul.
A soul.
And the film conflates soul with biological origin. The machine is cold, calculating silicon. It has no loyalty. It has no blood.
And who defeats it?
The family. Flesh and blood.
It takes the whole family working together. Shield, stretch, speed, strength to kill the machine. They literally coordinate their genetics to win.
It is the ultimate victory of genetics over technology. The message is clear. Only the biological family working in genetic concert can save the day.
You cannot build a hero.
You have to breed one.
Wow. Okay, so we've established that the movie hates mediocrity, hates the idea of democratizing power, and believes genetics are destiny. Now we get to the end, the resolution. And this is what the source calls a compromise with mediocrity.
Let's look at the final scene, the track meet.
This scene, as a kid, I thought it was funny. Now it breaks my heart. Dash wants to run track. That's all he wanted the whole movie.
He finally gets his chance.
And his parents finally let him. But what do they yell from the sidelines?
Close. Make it close. Go for a second.
Go for a second.
Yeah.
They are telling their son to actively lose, to hold back, to not be his best, just so he can fit in.
The source calls this strategic masquerade.
It feels like gaslighting. Dash knows he won. The family knows he won. The audience knows he won. But they have to pretend he didn't.
Why? To maintain social cohesion. If Dash lapped those kids 3 times, the normals would feel threatened.
The lawsuits would start again.
They might sue again. They might ban the supers again. So the gods put on masks. They pretend to be average to protect the fragile egos of the mortals.
The source uses the term noblesse oblige.
Right. It's an old French concept, the obligation of the nobility.
Okay, what does that mean?
Because you are better, you must be generous to the commoners. You must not crush them, even though you could. The film doesn't end with equality.
Not at all.
It ends with the supers accepting that they have to hide their light just enough to keep the peace.
It's a permanent 2-tier system.
It is. The hierarchy is solidified. The supers are on top, but they agree to be polite about it.
And notice the role of the government in the finale, or the lack thereof.
Oh, the state is useless in this movie. Absolutely useless. The government agents are nice guys, but they are incompetent.
Wick Dicker's a good guy, but he can't do anything.
He couldn't find Syndrome's Island. Their tanks get destroyed by the Omnidroid in 2 seconds.
So who protects society?
The private nuclear family. The Parrs operate as an extra-legal entity.
What do you mean by that?
They don't answer to the police. They don't answer to the government. They answer to the law of their own biology.
It's very libertarian. The government is incompetent. Only the great men and women can save us.
And that's where we leave them. The underminer shows up. They put on their masks.
Which means the relocation program is dead. They are done hiding completely.
But they aren't sharing their power. They are hoarding it. They have accepted their role as protectors, and the public has accepted their role as the flock.
They're the shepherds.
Exactly. The film rejects Syndrome's technological democracy, where everyone can be super in favor of biological stratification.
So we have reached the end of the deep dive, and we have to render a verdict. This was a wild ride.
It forces you to rethink the whole Pixar canon, honestly.
But sticking to this film, the verdict from the source material is clear. The Incredibles is a Randian fable.
That's the conclusion, yeah.
It argues that human value is concentrated in a natural aristocracy. It tells us that some people are just better, smarter, and stronger, and that the worst thing society can do is try to hold them back or, God forbid, try to elevate everyone else to their level.
It's a defense of inequality. It says inequality is natural and good.
And that the attempt to create equality, whether through lawsuits, participation trophies, or technology, is villainous.
It paints the quest for equality as envy. Syndrome didn't want justice. He was just jealous. That's what the movie wants you to believe.
So here's the provocative thought I want to leave you with today.
Okay.
If you really look at it, Syndrome was right.
Go on. Make the final case.
Think about it. Syndrome wanted to break the glass ceiling. He wanted a world where you didn't have to be born a Parr to be special. He wanted to give power to the people. He wanted to share the fire of the gods.
And the Incredibles wanted to hoard it.
They did. They fought to keep the power in the bloodline. They fought to keep the status quo where they are the gods and we are the civilians.
That's a powerful indictment.
The movie uses cool animation and a cute baby to convince you to root for the genetic elite, keeping their boot on the neck of the tech innovator.
It whispers the quiet part out loud.
What's that?
Some people are just better than others, and we should let them be. And if you try to change that, well, you might just get sucked into a jet turbine.
On that cheerful note, thank you for listening to this deep dive. Go rewatch the movie if you can stomach it now.
It'll be a different experience, I promise you that.
And try not to see the villain as the only guy trying to create a fair world.
And ask yourself,
Yeah.
Who are you really rooting for? The family or the future?
We'll catch you next time.